Mollie Tibbets, the University of Iowa student found dead last month, says attempts to use the killing to promote an anti-immigrant agenda are heartless, despicable, and shameful. In an opinion piece, the Des Moines Register, Rob Tibbets says, quote, "Please leave us out of your debate. Allow us to grieve in privacy and with dignity." He also said those exploiting her death hold views Mollie considered profoundly racist.
Your talent is God's gift to you, and what you do with it is your gift back to God.
Mollie Tibbets' father told CBS News she would want people to turn away from venal and petty impulses and work toward harmony. To knowingly foment discord among races is a disgrace to our flag, he wrote in the Des Moines Register Saturday. It incites fear in innocent communities and lends legitimacy to the darkest, most hate-filled corners of the American soul. An undocumented Mexican immigrant has been charged with Mollie Tibbets' murder. Before her body was found August 21st, Rob Tibbets told us he and his daughter shared an unbreakable bond.
She was the best man at my wedding. She gave an unbelievable toast. She told me I was her best friend.
How did that feel?
It was pretty nice. I feel that way too.
In the Register, Rob Tibbets said he has a stepdaughter and grandchildren who are Latino, whom Mollie loved dearly. That means I'm Hispanic, I am African, I am Asian, I am European, Tibbets wrote. My blood runs from every corner of the earth because I am American. His op-ed was published the day after the same newspaper printed an opinion piece by Donald Trump Jr. The president's son blamed Democrats and lax border policies for Tibbets' death, a position echoed by the president.
They charged an illegal alien in the murder of a college student, Mollie Tibbets.
Last week, Iowa residents, including Mr. Tibbets, received a robocall purporting to be from a white nationalist group about Tibbets' murder, calling for all Mexicans to be deported. But in his op-ed, Robert Tibbets urged Americans to turn against racism in all its ugly manifestations, both subtle and overt. Let's listen, not shout. Let's build bridges, not walls. Robert Tibbets said seeing the nation.
Officials say the man charged with killing the 20-year-old Christian Rivera is an undocumented immigrant from Mexico. The case immediately drawn into the center of the national conversation on immigration.
Mollie Tibbets, an incredible young woman, is now permanently separated from her family. A person came in from Mexico illegally and killed her.
The wealthy individuals that
Breaking tonight, we now know that Mollie Tibbets was killed with sharp force injury, according to the medical examiner's report, which came out late today. Christian Rivera, an illegal immigrant charged with carrying out that brutal murder, claims that he blacked out and that he has no recollection of the attack. Joining me now exclusively is Rivera's defense attorney, Alan Richards. Mr. Richards, welcome to the story. Thank you for being here tonight to answer some questions. He described what happened in pretty great detail in the police report. He talked about running behind her and then alongside of her. Then she said she was going to call the police. Then he panicked and got mad and says that he blacked out after that. Your response to the fact that it is now known that she died from sharp force injury?
I would have no comment on, those reports until I see the reports.
You haven't seen the medical examiner's report from your case?
As far as the death, I'm real sorry about the death. I'm not going to make any comment on a report until somebody testifies to in more detail concerning the matter.
So you haven't read the medical examiner's report with regard to your client that came out today. But anyway, so I just filled you in on the headline there, which is that she was killed with sharp force trauma, blunt force trauma, essentially, which indicates that she was hit hard with something, hard enough to kill her, according to these reports. We also have this picture today of the cornfield where her body was found, and he described to the police in detail that he brought her to a secluded location. He carried her over his shoulder, took her about 20 meters into the cornfield, and then left her covered in some corn leaves and left her there face up. That's the report according to your client. Do you want to comment on that at all?
I understand that. That is what the investigators are stating. As far as you're asking me, I've been here. I'm in Tama County. I've been in court proceedings most of the afternoon or morning here in Tama County. And I will have the opportunity to review those matters.
Okay. This is a soundbite that you said. I want to play something that you said that's gotten a lot of attention yesterday about your case. Let's play that.
And the law includes presumption of innocence and due process before critical mistake of saying the outrageous thing that sad and sorry Trump has been saying. And he said it about this case, which there's no premise in the history of our country where a man in that position, a sad and sorry Trump, should even be commenting on him until we get past this presumption of innocence.
So why did you decide to bring the president into it?
Well, he's brought himself into it, and I think that people are buying into the concepts and notions that Mr. Trump is bringing forward. And at this stage in the process, it's not proper. I think there's a misconception of what the role of a defense attorney is. My role is to vigorously represent Christian, and my obligation is to the administration of justice in a manner that seeks out the truth in a manner that helps people and societal problems in a rational, peaceful,
I understand what you're saying.
and efficient
I
manner.
just think, in terms of the question of his immigrant status, ICE and his employer both verified today, because there was some confusion about it, both verified today that they consider him an illegal immigrant from Mexico. And I fail to see how that fact isn't. It's just a fact. I mean, if he was from Colorado and lived there for 20 years, we would know that. But we know that he's an illegal immigrant who arrived from Mexico and has lived in Iowa for 4 to 7 years. So I fail to see how that's irrelevant, or how bringing that in is not part of the facts that surround this case. How is it not?
That's rhetoric. The United States Constitution provides if you're not a citizen, you still are entitled to the jurisdictions of the courts and entitled to equal protection under the law.
I don't think anyone said he wasn't. What people are saying is that he arrived here illegally from Mexico 4 to 7 years ago.
That's your rhetoric on it.
It's not rhetoric. That's what the immigration
It,
officials are saying. Their reports indicate he used a false name to work for an employer. They thought he was somebody else. We know that as well. These are the facts that are being dug up in the case. No one's making judgment on them themselves. They're just saying this is what we've learned so far about this individual. So why wouldn't that be relevant? This is his background.
You want to jump to say they're facts. Have these people been under oath? Have these people provided the opportunity for Christian to present his point of view on the matter?
It's not a point of view question. It's not a point of view question. Either he's here legally or he's not here legally. It's really not a point of view question. It's not a rhetoric question, sir.
That's maybe your point of view, Martha. We have a society here, an agrarian society, where these individuals are welcome here. They are accepted by the wealthy individuals that are running these companies, and they're a vital part to the communities.
They may be, sir.
For anybody to say otherwise.
You're talking apples and oranges. They may be accepted by the community. They may be brought in. The company that hired him says that he gave them a fake ID, that they ran that through their system of the Social Security system, is what they said, that they ran it through. He gave them a fake ID. So these are the facts. Whether or not they were welcomed to work there that's fine. But he came here illegally is just part of the equation. So to say that that's bringing politics into it, I think you're putting rhetoric and point of view on it.
Well, you're trying to say that his state of mind was in such a way. We're dealing with an individual that has a middle school education, so his perception is entitled to equal protection and due process. Now, you can jump to it and just say, these are the facts, but that doesn't make them facts because you say so, Martha. The man is entitled to a hearing on the issue.
Facts, that he has an 8th grade education. These are facts. These are not emotional. This is his situation. This is how long he's been here, where he worked. This is the background. So I don't understand, why you're trying to put something else on top of it. Whenever you have a case, as you well know, as a defense attorney, you try to nail down what happened and who's involved and what their situation is. No? And then I got to go.
Well, the situation he's involved with concerning his status has nothing to do with the situation that unfortunately happened over there on that road in Brooklyn. I'm sorry.
All right.
He's entitled to a hearing on the immigration issue.
Which he will get, exactly. Alan Richards, thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. It's an awful, awful situation, and we hope that justice is served for this beautiful young woman who should still be alive today if it were not for her killer. Thank you, sir. Good.
I don't go to that channel anymore, really, because I'm trying to just stay on one channel. I'm going to start up here, okay? So Mollie Tibbets, update. Man accused of killing Mollie Tibbets says he was not read his rights before police interview. This is an article from Des Moines Register. As of March 4th, 2019, Christian Rivera has been charged with first-degree murder of Mollie Tibbets. The undocumented immigrant accused of killing University of Iowa student Mollie Tibbets says he was not advised of his rights before an interview with law enforcement, arguing his constitutional right against self-incrimination was violated. So he wasn't read his rights from what he's saying. Lawyers for Christian Bahena Rivera say before the 12-hour interview, so it was a 12-hour interview he had with them, the cops, he was not told about his right to an attorney or his right to decline to cooperate. See, if you go to those videos I did on my other channel, you'll see how things started getting real fishy and how I said things aren't going to be the way it sounds so quick and easy, because it's not. More's coming out here. His client was Mirandized, shorthand in the legal profession for formally explaining a suspect's rights under the U.S. Supreme Court decision Miranda versus Arizona, 9 to 10 hours into the interview. So they didn't even Mirandize him until he was in the interview 9 to 10 hours. Into the interview at the Poweshiek County or Poweshiek County Sheriff's Office in Montezuma. Following the interview, part of the story the public had not yet heard. It's involuntary. A special agent with the Iowa Division of Criminal Investigation referred questions about the motion to the Iowa Attorney General's office. He read him his rights beforehand, which every American knows they need to do that, but an undocumented or an illegal immigrant would not know that. They use that against him, is what I'm seeing, and I think others will too. But any American would know, I need to be read my rights, and I want a lawyer right now, something like that. Fully putting through a motion. He wasn't even read his rights until like 9-10 hours into it. And the whole interview was like 12 hours long. Bahena Rivera, 24, was charged with first-degree murder in the stabbing death of Tibbets, 20, after he led investigators to her body in a rural Poweshiek County cornfield, authorities said. Now, that's what the authorities told us, that he led them to her body, okay? Bahena Rivera, a farmhand, confessed to abducting Tibbets while she was on a run July 18th outside of her hometown of Brooklyn, investigators said. Tibbets was found August 21st after law enforcement searched for her for a month. Okay? So they searched for her. That whole thing was kind of messed up too, I mentioned that. But her disappearance drew national and international attention. In the motion, Bahena Rivera's attorney said he was approached by law enforcement August 20th after a day of work at Yereby Farms in Brooklyn. Officers asked if he spoke English, and he said no, other than the basics, according to court documents. Bahena Rivera consented for officers to search his car, but his attorneys now claim he was not advised that he could decline to cooperate with law enforcement. Bahena Rivera said he would sit for an interview with officers, but that he needed permission from his boss. who said he might call the farm's lawyer. So the boss said he might call the farm's lawyer according to the motion. Okay, now this is what really concerns me. Mollie Tibbets was nationwide known, right? Why in the world would the cops screw it up so bad? Don't they realize they would need to read the rights? Of course they do. They chose not to. Why? You got to ask yourself why. Okay. In regards to checking the car out without telling them, you don't really have to let us. Why? Why? Cops know how to do their job. Why weren't they doing their job? You got to ask that question. Along with the fact that we were never told if anything was ever found in that car. And if so, and if there was something in there, why would Rivera just say, oh yeah, not a problem, Even though he wasn't told that he couldn't, he just said, go ahead, basically. A lot of questions, folks. But Bahena Rivera's attorneys argued he was told he did not need an attorney. Oh my God, that is so bad. He was interviewed by himself without being told his Miranda rights, and his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination was violated, his attorneys claimed. They put forth a 29-page letter about this, folks. The motion cited what his attorneys called a number of concerning factors in this case, including Bahena Rivera's language barrier and lack of education. His attorneys also claimed he was offered leniency, which, they said, can induce false confessions leading to wrongful convictions of the innocent. I had mentioned that in one of my other videos on that other channel, that, someone could have been leading him to believe, oh yeah, just do this and we'll send you to Mexico for like a year and then you can come back or whatever, and he believed this. I didn't think it was like a cop that was saying it, but you never know if they're telling him leniency, how far that leniency was promised. At which point, after 12 hours, he'd probably just say, yeah. And we don't know if he actually led them to the body, because right now I'm questioning everything the cops are doing if they didn't even do the basic number one rule, read him his rights. So anyways, Robert Rigg, a law professor at Drake University, told the Register that if the officers did not read Bahena Rivera his rights until hours into the interview, the motion could cause issues for prosecutors. He said reading a suspect his rights early and often is wise for officers. That could come back and cause them some trouble, he said. No shit. I'm sorry, people, but this case, I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay, the interrogation with a bilingual police officer began casually, during which a law enforcement officer told Bahena Rivera, Christian, the evidence doesn't lie, according to the motion. He repeatedly said he only saw Tibbets running, his attorney said. An officer then said investigators knew that Bahena Rivera had killed Tibbets, but that they needed to know why, according to the motion. So all along, Christian Rivera was telling the cops, I only saw her running. Yeah, I did see her, but she was running. Okay, but now the cops, who did not read him his rights, who told him he didn't need an attorney, are now saying, no, you did it. You did it. Okay? And Christian said, if I knew, I would already told you, Bahena Rivera said. You killed her, right? A law enforcement officer asked, according to the motion. I didn't kill. No. I don't know if I know how to kill people, Bahena Rivera responded. One of the officers said investigators found Tibbets' hair in Bahena Rivera's car, according to the motion. Still, I don't know if I should believe that. If the cops screw up purposely, and it's purposely, because you know how to read the damn rights to every citizen, and illegal. They are human. Okay? You don't do the basic read the rights, and then you claim you find a hair in Rivera's car, which was actually a farm car. But his attorneys said further testing did not indicate the presence of her hair in the vehicle. Oh my God. Oh my God. So the attorneys did further testing on this, and it did not indicate the presence. I told you he was getting railroaded. Indicate the presence of her hair in the vehicle. I am not lying to you when I tell you that there is evidence, an officer said. She was not in my car. I didn't do anything to her, Bahina Rivera responded. According to court records, I am telling you, it can be a hair from my wife. See, the whole time. Oh. At one point, someone began yelling and cursing at Bahina Rivera, his attorney said. Another man added, I can see in your eyes that there's something you're hiding from us, according to transcripts cited in Bahina Rivera's motion. Freezy, he's the attorney, him and his wife Jennifer Freezy took on the case. Freezy, one of Bahina Rivera's attorneys, said that the interview was the only one law enforcement conducted with his client before he was charged with murder. He said he expected a hearing on the motion to be held during the early summer months. Asked about investigators claim that Bahina Rivera led them to Tibbets' body, Freezy said they have issue with that characterization, but declined to comment further. Oh, dear Lord. Telling you people, he didn't do it. He may know someone who did it, but he didn't. He was not the brunt. You have a killer in Brooklyn. You have someone who did this because they don't have the right guy. And cops railroading this guy know it, basically. So it kind of makes me wonder who this person is that really did kill her. So, Bahina Rivera's attorneys also filed a motion Friday for a change of venue, arguing that existing prejudice in Pulaski County, I know I'm naming that wrong, but y'all know what I'm talking about, makes it likely a fair and impartial trial cannot be preserved with jury selected from the county, which I understand that because it was so nationwide. You know, I mean, yes, it was nationwide, so that you can't really find someone who didn't hear about Mollie Tibbets. But then in that county, apparently if the cops aren't doing their damn job, can you really count on jurors that just want to
The emotional words from a grieving father, Mollie Tibbets' dad, speaking out in a new op-ed piece, slamming those using the death of his 20-year-old daughter as a flashpoint in the immigration debate or to advance racist views, calling that heartless and despicable. Here's ABC's Marcy Gonzalez.
A plea from the grieving father of Mollie Tibbets. Rob Tibbets writing this op-ed in the Des Moines Register with this request in bold. Don't distort her death to advance racist views.
Mr. Rivera, did you kill Mollie Tibbets?
Officials say the man charged with killing the 20-year-old Christian Rivera is an undocumented immigrant from Mexico. The case immediately drawn into the center of the national conversation on immigration.
Mollie Tibbets, an incredible young woman, is now permanently separated from her family. A person came in from Mexico illegally and killed her. We need the wall. We need our immigration laws changed.
Tibbets writing, please leave us out of your debate. Responding to this op-ed in the same paper written by Donald Trump Jr., in which the president's son writes, Democrats are seemingly more concerned with protecting their radical open borders agenda than the lives of innocent Americans. Tibbets writing, I encourage the debate on immigration, but do not appropriate Mollie's soul in advancing views she believed were profoundly racist. The act grievously extends the crime that stole Mollie from our family and is, to quote Donald Trump Jr., heartless and despicable. And the suspect accused of murdering Mollie Tibbets is being held on $5 million bond. Grievously extends the crime that stole Mollie from our family and is, to quote Donald Trump Jr., heartless and despicable. The act grievously extends the crime that stole Mollie from our family and is, to quote Donald Trump Jr., heartless and despicable. I encourage the debate on immigration, but do not appropriate Mollie's soul in advancing views she believed were profoundly racist. encourage the debate on immigration, but do not appropriate Mollie's soul in advancing views she believed were profoundly racist.